I don't think that artists should have a style. And the reason why is because your style, I think, is a representation of who you are, what you've been through, what you've experienced, and what you want to say. And those things change sometimes daily for people, but especially over decades of life. You will change, and your views will change, and what you believe will change, and who you are as a person especially will change over time. So I think that style is something that is almost like constraining sometimes, and it should be something that evolves and continues to experiment. Like Picasso with, back in the day he did hyper-realistic Renaissance style religious paintings, right? Just like the masters before him. And then eventually he found Cubism, and he explored many different styles from the first time he picked up the pencil all the way until like Cubism and his later works and stuff like that. I guess my style is not really defined by one specific thing, and it's changing like over time as well. So I'm Tyler James. I am a photographer, and I do a little bit of video stuff as well in Minneapolis, Minnesota. 13, I begged my parents to get me a DSLR because I wanted to start taking some photos, and it was really expensive, so they didn't want to buy me something so expensive when I was so young, because they didn't trust that I would not break it and keep it, keep it for a long time and learn it, and they thought I would get sick of it after like 2 months. So I begged them to buy me a Canon Rebel XTI. I just took photos of flowers and sunsets and my family. And then in college, I actually got another camera, a Canon 70D, and I started really, I guess, taking it more seriously and trying to create stuff that that I liked, that was different, that was more artistic, or like documentary or street photography and stuff like that. My personal work is kind of, I guess, mundane scenes, and I try to find objects that, or scenes that I can manipulate to evoke a certain emotion or a certain feeling in the viewer. And that's what I've been focusing on lately over the past year, is trying to take photos of things that everyone sees, but trying to show them in a certain light or a certain composition or a certain way to try to evoke a feeling of isolation and loneliness and depression and some of the things that I go through.
So obviously we're going through a lot these days with COVID and loneliness and stuff. Is that what you're trying to illustrate with those photos, and like these kind of urban landscapes, but really like lonely, desolate type of photos? Is that where we're going for?
Yeah, I guess I didn't actually make the connection personally between like COVID and loneliness and isolation and the work that I'm creating right now. I definitely feel more isolated or more lonely because of COVID and not being able to see people and not being able to interact with people face to face, and that definitely has affected me. Like every time I talk about that on my Instagram, or I talk about that with people, friends, acquaintances, family, I'm very open about my mental illnesses and my family issues and all these things. Like whenever I bring those things up or I share those things, people oftentimes will come to me in private and be like, I'm struggling with the same feelings, or my family also has like really drastic issues, or and they've thanked me for being vulnerable and sharing that information and giving them an opportunity to further talk to me about how I've dealt with it and the skills that I've acquired over the years of continuous like feelings of not feeling accepted and feeling like bad about myself and about like who I am and who I want to be. And so I guess like the pandemic was really liberating because it gave me a lot of time to think, and it gave me a lot of time to decide what my next steps are going to be and decide who I really want to be. I've definitely noticed people reach out to me and perfectly describe what they're feeling is what I wanted them to feel, and that has been I guess, super, again, liberating and super,
Gratifying too.
yeah, super gratifying too, and something that kind of like helps me crush the imposter syndrome that we all have, right? Like, I feel like it never goes away, like feeling like an imposter, but that helps me to feel like maybe I do have something to say. Maybe I can actually make artwork for a living and do this like full time and do this as my career and show people, what I feel and what I've been through my photos and stuff like that. So it's been, yeah, very, very gratifying for sure, but very humbling as well.